What's going on YouTube? So the Kia Sorento is one of Kia's longest running nameplates, and for good reason, since it's been a very popular product.
But Kia is never one to rest on their laurels, and that's going to show up with this refreshed 2024 Kia Sorento.
So, with an updated exterior design, updated interior, as well as exciting new technology, is this an SUV you should be checking out? Well, let's find out. All right, so let's get things started here with our spec dump. Now, under the hood of this refreshed Sorento, you are going to find these same engine options for 2024. This particular one is the 2.5 turbocharged engine. So this is going to be 281 horsepower and 311 pound-feet of torque.
You have an 8-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission with this model. You also have the option between front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. And as far as your fuel economy is concerned, it's going to be coming in at 23 miles a gallon combined.
Now, of course, like every review, we're going to go out on the road, show you the performance of that. We're going to get things like our signature sound level readings so you can compare this to all the rivals at CarConfections.com. But we don't want to keep you waiting any longer. Let's close up the hood and take a look at the substantial exterior updates that Kia has made. Now, like I said, the exterior design has changed quite a bit, and no place is that more apparent than right here in the front. So you're going to notice immediately that we have kind of a tougher, boxier look across the trim levels. Now, the trim levels themselves have been restructured a little bit. What you're seeing right now is the EX X-Line. So that means that we do have a little bit of the tougher elements down here in your lower fascia. You notice this kind of squared off with this dark gray accent, which is going to designate that this is an X-Line model. The tiger nose face itself has a new shape to it. We'd also have the gloss black finish right there in the middle, which looks quite nice. Now, this is critical because I need to talk about the fact that you're actually going to see two different design Sorentos for the 2024 model year. When you're talking about the gas powertrains, these are going to already have the updated look that you're seeing right here. But if you choose a hybrid model, that's going to continue with the previous design for another model year until 2025 model year. So if you get confused when you come to your Kia dealership, that is why you're going to see two different looks. Now, let's carry on and take a look at our headlights. Now, these obviously are very different as well. So you're going to notice a new standard, very premium feature, projector LED headlights. So it's got this cool stack design. You're going to see this across the entire lineup. Looks really, really nice. We also have a super cool looking daytime running light and turn signal indicator. As you can see, that goes all the way back there and into the grille itself. This is going to be an amber daytime running light and turn signal indicator. And then finally, down here in your lower fascia, we also have fog lamps. Now, as we walk around to the rear design, you will notice that you're not going to see big changes like you did with the front. Kia's mostly keeping this back design the same for 2024.
Yeah, and I really liked the way this Sorento looked pre-refreshed, so I'm not too disappointed by that. Now, Drew's going to go ahead and hop inside, and we're going to check out the taillights and see if all the elements are LED. Now, we do have an incandescent brake light, an incandescent turn signal, and an incandescent reverse light. So none of the elements are LED. I'm a little disappointed by that. However, you can get partially LED taillights if you choose the SX trims or above. So the higher end models will have some elements, but I really wish Kia would include that on all of the versions. Now, as far as other features, I do want to point out we have a rear wiper that's hidden underneath of the spoiler. And then down here at the lower area, we do have a slightly different bumper design for this refreshed Sorento. As far as your tow rating is concerned, it comes in at 3,500 pounds. Now, here at the side of the Sorento, the overall design doesn't change much, and we still come in at an overall length of 189 inches. Now, as far as some of the design elements, this one does have blacked out window surrounds, and we also have the bridge style roof rails since we have an X-Line model. Now, I also want to talk about your safety systems for the 2024 Sorento. We do have all four active safety features as standard equipment across the lineup, which I'm definitely very happy to see. Additionally, if you choose an S model and above, you will at least have their highway drive assist function. And then as you go up the trim structure, you will add in additional features like highway drive assist 2.0, as well as rear automatic braking. But guys, there's a lot on the inside that we need to show you that is completely new. So let's check that out. But first,
If you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12.
And 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
And we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
All right, now let's go ahead and head to the inside. First, of course, we'll take a quick look at the key fob. This is Kia's latest key fob. Has a cool shape to it. Your buttons are over here on the side. And you do also have remote start on the other side. This is a new standard feature for 2024 along with smart entry. Now, to get inside the vehicle, there's not going to be a sensor behind the handle, so you're going to press the black button. That will unlock the door. And let's go ahead and take a look at the interior. So as you can probably tell right off the bat, if you're familiar with the 2023 Sorento, is just how much of the interior has changed. But before we get into all those individual details, I want to talk about your seats. So the LX is going to come with a cloth seat. All your middle trims will come with leatherette, including this EX. So as you can see, nice premium look to these seats. Even though they're not a real leather, they still feel very realistic, and I love the perforation running through the center section. You also get a real leather with diamond bolsters if you choose the top-end SX Prestige. There's some new color options as well for 2024. Now, taking a look at the actual controls themselves, most models are going to come with this 10-way power adjusting seat with 2-way lumbar. You get some additional adjustments, though, if you choose the SX Prestige, along with memory seats. But let's go ahead and climb inside, get into all the individual details. Now that we're fully inside, the first thing I want to look at is the rest of the materials besides for the seats. We'll start out with our door trim. We have a leatherette pad here with stitching detail, soft touch material in the center, and a soft touch plastic along the top. As we move to the upper dashboard, this is all going to be finished in a leatherette with a stitching detail. And then down below, this EX trim level comes with a very realistic faux wood trim. It actually is kind of textured to feel like a real wood. Down below that, you have this new single vent effect, and you do have these handlebars, which are finished in, looks like a matte black plastic, but some models will have a piano finish here. Well, let's go ahead and fire it up. Now that it's fired up with the push button start, let's take a look at the individual details. First of all, we have just a new display setup. So as you can tell, you have this new single piece display where you previously had the separated gauge cluster. There are going to be some differences between the trims though, because it's hard to tell, but this actually is going to be a 4.2-inch multifunction display right there, and this is kind of just a digital graphic that's going to be popped up. If you want the fully customizable gauges, you're going to have to go up one more trim from this EX, and that will give you the 12.3-inch fully customizable gauges. One thing I want to point out is there's still not a head-up display offered even on the top trim level, and that is something that its sister vehicle, the Hyundai Santa Fe, does now have offered. Now let's take a look at the steering wheel. Latest Kia design, leather wrapped pretty much across the board except for the base model. You have piano black finish, and we also have manual tilt and telescoping. Heating is going to be available on many trims as well. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at interior storage. The console itself has changed just a little bit, but what hasn't changed is the fact you have a lot of storage. So you're going to notice some stuffed donuts in here because this is the Car Confections donut test. We like to see how many donuts can fit into the center console. The answer is 16. That is a very, very good number because this is a quite deep and wide center console. Now in front of that, you have your cup holder, a little storage slot right there, a bigger storage area up in the front, and you also have a wireless phone charging pad starting on just the S trim level. USB-Cs are now up there in the front. And if we pull back to the shifter, you're going to see that we have a new shifter design. It's kind of squared off for 2024, but it's still a traditional style, so you can pull back for drive, bump over here to the left for manual shifting. There aren't any paddle shifters on the steering wheel for this example. Going into reverse, you're going to see the traditional backup camera up here on board. If you want a 360 camera, you can get that, but you're going to have to choose the very top-end SX Prestige. Thankfully, though, even on the lower trims, everything except the base model will have rear parking sensors. We also have front parking sensors on this EX X-Line. And then back behind that, you have your electronic parking brake with brake hold, as well as your drive mode controller. And by the way, this electronic parking brake is now standard on all trims. All right, So let's move on up here to our climate area as well as our heated seat controls. This is an area that has changed for 2024. So first of all, dual zone climate is going to be standard on all but the base LX, but we have the same system you've seen on many other Kias now in the Sorento, which means that these buttons here are multi-function. So right now what you're seeing are audio controls, but if I press this button, that is going to now make them dual zone climate controls. So we can use this physical switch here to adjust the temperature right here, nice and easy. And then when I want to go back to audio, I can press that button there and go back to audio and turn this into a traditional volume knob. Now, speaking of that, you're gonna have a 6-speaker sound system on pretty much every trim. Loaded models can get a 12-speaker Bose sound system, but let's go ahead and hear a sample of what the 6-speaker sounds like. I'm actually quite satisfied with the sound quality of this system. It fills up the cabin nicely, it has good bass as well, but of course if you're a big audiophile, you'll probably want to upgrade to the Bose sound system. Okay, so we talked about at the very beginning in the intro some big tech improvements, and that's where I want to focus in here now on the infotainment system. So won't keep you in suspense any longer. This new 2024 model has a new software system, and because of that new software, we now have wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. So check it out. Not physically connected at all, yet I do have access to this. This is something that's going to be on all trims now. Previously, it was you just really couldn't get it on most trim levels of any Kia product, so now we're starting to see wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. A lot of you guys are going to be very, very happy about that. Now, the display itself is 12.3 inches. So it's a large display, and we have, like I said, the new software infrastructure. So this is going to give you access to a wide variety of applications here. As you can see, performance much enhanced, and touch responsiveness of this system is fantastic. We do also have built-in navigation on many of your upper end trim levels. Now, as we rise above, going to find a frameless auto dimming mirror starting at the mid level, and then going up to the top. As you can see, we do have a panoramic sunroof. This is a very large piece of glass, and the front panel does open up.
All right, guys, so let's go ahead and check out the rear seats and see if anything has changed for this refreshed Sorento. Now, I do want to just go ahead and hit your space figures first, though, because this is a very family-oriented vehicle, and of course, you need a lot of space. As far as the legroom, you are going to have a lot. 41.7 inches of legroom, about 39 inches of headroom. That doesn't change for this refreshed model, but it really is one of the best in the entire segment. And it has a very impressive legroom figure, and because we're here at Car Confections, we want to give you all those details that some of the other reviewers miss. We're going to get you the knee room figure, which is going to be sitting at around 8.5 inches of knee space for someone. I'm 5'9". This seat is adjusted to Drew, who's 5'8". My feet can also slide up underneath the seat, and boy, these seats slide a long way. So that's certainly going to be good if you have a child seat or whatever. You can make it nice and close to the front seats. Now, speaking of the seats themselves, you will notice that these are captain's chairs. That's going to be standard on EX trim levels and above. We do have a nice armrest, and we're even going to have a nice little storage pouch here on the side. Now, here in the center, we do have vents. Those are going to be standard equipment. You can point them in any different direction. We also have a USB port integrated into both seat backs, and a 12-volt outlet down in the very bottom. Now, turning to the door trim, we do have a nicely finished one, although I will point out this is going to be a hard-touch material as opposed to the front. We do have a leatherette armrest portion, though, and we have a nice cup holder right up here in the front. As you can see, I can fit a Stanley water bottle, so for those of you that have, teachers or whatever that are obsessed with the Stanleys, it does fit right there in the door trim. And now it's time to showcase one of my favorite features about the Sorento, and that's that we actually have a third row. Despite this being in the 2-row mid-size segment, we actually have a third row, so it's not going to be as big as something like a Telluride, but let's go ahead and check it out. So when I get back here, it's pretty easy. You just push that button right there. That will fold the seat out of the way and allow for relatively easy entry into this rear area. And as far as this is concerned, we're going to be sitting at, a little less than 30 inches of leg room, and a decent amount of headroom, but do keep in mind, like I said, this is not meant to replace the Telluride. This is just kind of one of those third rows that you use in emergencies for the most part, or for small kids. So as far as on our third row rating scale, I will say this is going to slide in a little bit below the in-laws. I think this is going to be just for kids. Now, as far as what's going on back here, you will see that I have a decent amount of thigh support, but that's really going to be the area that I'm lacking the most. My feet can slide up underneath the seat, which I'm very happy to say, and I even have about an inch of spare knee room, so that's not too bad whatsoever with the seat slid all the way back. Additionally, I have a cup holder, I have a little storage cubby, I even have a USB port, but do be aware there are no vents here in the third row, which is something that the all-new Santa Fe does now include. Now, walking up to the tailgate, we do have a hands-free power tailgate, which you'll notice the button is actually down here. I went to grab underneath of the lid. They have not changed that. I wish they would kind of move the position, but that's going to remain the same for 2024. That's included on EX trim levels and above. Now, as far as this area is concerned, we're going to have about 13 cubic feet behind the third row of seats. If we fold those seats down, we're going to reveal about 45 cubic feet of cargo space, and then as a maximum, if you fold all the seats down, you're going to be sitting at about 75 cubic feet of space, which is a good amount for this segment. I do want to point out, though, of course, you're not going to have a power folding third row. The third row is kind of one of those things they're just kind of throwing in as bonus, but we do have the buttons right here to electrically fold the second row down. So I like that you don't have to go up to the second row to fold it down, and it just can be done easily with the push of a button. Now, here at Car Confections, we do want to provide all those measures for you. So how much cargo length do we have behind the driver's seat adjusted to someone who's 5'8"? Well, we're looking at 79 inches of cargo length. That's a good amount. And then as far as behind the second row, so with the third row folded down, we're looking at 41 inches of length. And then let's go ahead and get the cargo width. We are sitting at 42 inches wide. Now, as far as other things, we have a little bit of storage up underneath of here. You do also have a spare tire on this Sorento. Well, guys, we can't wait to show you what this Sorento is like behind the wheel. And in this test drive, we're going to be talking about quite a few different things, as you can see on the screen right now, including getting our signature sound level reading. But first, we want to go ahead and start by showing you what this powertrain is like under a hard acceleration.
Accelerating swiftly with the 2024 Sorento. You can probably tell what powertrain that we have on board. We've got the powerful one.
Yeah.
As we mentioned earlier with the spec dump, you continue to have a wide assortment of powertrains. There's actually 4 of them. As another 2024 Sorento drives by. That's funny. There's actually 4 different choices, but we have the 2.5 turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. And to remind you guys what type of power that makes, 281 horsepower, 311 pound-feet of torque. So really good power on board, especially when you're thinking about the torque figure. You're going to certainly feel that push you back in your seat as you take off.
Yeah, 311 is a lot for this segment. Now, as far as the base motor, you get that on the LX and S trim levels only. So if you at least choose the EX, you will get this 2.5 turbo, which I like. That's a little bit of a change from the previous model, but as far as the base motor, it comes in at 191 horsepower, 181 pound-feet of torque. So really substantial power boost if you choose this turbo motor. So I would recommend at least going for an EX trim level because that is where you get the turbo, and I think this is a big, big upgrade.
Yeah, for sure. This is a little bit of a bigger SUV than, something in the class below, obviously. So you're probably going to want that extra power. And it is something interesting, though, that you do still get to choose the base engine, since the new Santa Fe, that model actually has eliminated that base engine.
Now, we're not done talking about engines yet because Kia will continue to offer hybrid and plug-in hybrid offerings. Now, we don't have official details regarding that when it gets updated in 2025. You can still get the older designed Sorento hybrid for 2024 as well. It's just going to not have any of the updates that we've been talking about in this video.
Now let's talk about the other aspect of the powertrain. That, of course, is the transmission. So with the different engine choices, you do also have different transmissions, as you would expect. Carrying on for 2024 is the 8-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission in pairing with this 2.5 turbo. This is, in essence, the powertrain that Hyundai uses in some of their higher performance things like the Sonata Inline and Kia K5 GT. But this is, comes with the territory in terms of what you can expect from a dual clutch. So you'll have like a little bit of a different feel when you're in the city speeds, but a really fast shift when you're accelerating. So as you notice when I put my foot down, you don't have to wait long at all. You're going to get those really fast, zippy shifts.
Yeah, now the base motor will continue to have just a regular 8-speed automatic, but once again, a big upgrade when it comes to the performance by choosing this dual clutch transmission. In these SUV applications, I feel like you're not making a huge sacrifice for that either, because like Drew said, it's not like really rough around town or anything. You might notice it's slightly different than a traditional automatic, but it's, I think, even better tuned for city driving in these SUV applications.
Yeah, it does seem like they have perhaps made some enhancements over the last model year. Yeah, shifts are nice and smooth as we kind of accelerate at a more normal pace, like you will.
And now that we're just kind of cruising along the highway here, I do want to talk about your ride quality for this Sorento. Now, this is an area I don't see changes much for the refreshed model. They may have slightly manipulated the suspension, but I think it feels mostly the same as the pre-refresh, which is a good thing. I think it has pretty good ride quality overall. I will just point out, if you choose a model with a larger wheels, when you hit a big bump in the road, you are going to have some intrusion into the cabin, so that is something to keep in mind. Your best ride quality might actually be found in one of the kind of off-road focused trim levels like the X Pro with the smaller wheel size and the kind of more off-road tuned suspension. But we're cruising at 55 miles per hour, and you know what time it is. It's time for us to get our sound level reading. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put it on fan speed 1, and we're going to get it on our designated strip of road. 55.5 decibels switched on me at the very end. There is our official sound level reading. That's a very impressive figure, guys, but I don't have to sit here and guess because I can go to carconfections.com/sound level readings, and on our website we posted all of the sound level readings for all of the cars that we have reviewed on this channel, which, trust me, is a lot, so we'll see how it compares. That does mean that this Sorento tested quieter than the pre-refresh model, so maybe Kia has tuned the sound or refined the sound insulation a little bit more for this refresh model, and it does place it as one of the quietest in the entire segment. Now, I do also want to talk about your drivetrains. You do have standard front-wheel drive across both the 2.5-liter powertrains. Additionally, you have the option of getting all-wheel drive. And as far as those fuel economy figures are concerned, we're sitting at 20, 27, 23 today with the turbo all-wheel drive. So that's going to be a very common choice for a lot of you guys. But the thing I want to point out is that the standard 2.5-liter non-turbo model doesn't really get any better fuel economy. So I would, like I said, recommend choosing this powertrain setup because you're not being penalized much in the fuel economy department, and you are getting a lot more performance.
By the way, this does have an auto start-stop system as well. Which,
pretty smooth.
By the way, this is something I don't know if I've ever seen on a Kia. This does have a system that can tell you when the car in front of you is taking off, but that's actually now working with the auto start-stop system. So the engine restarted not when I put my foot off the brake, but actually when that car in front of me started moving. So that is really cool.
All right, so let's go ahead and get into our airball and slam dunk. Our favorite element about this new Sorento and our least favorite element. Drew, do you want to kick us off with our favorite thing?
Yeah, so we're just going to say the 2024 updates. We like what they did with the exterior in terms of updating the grille, the lighting in particular, very premium looking. And then if you're a fan of like unique wheel designs, the stuff that they've done really kind of harkens to like the EV9 that we recently sampled. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Now, the one caveat to that is going to be our airball, and that's going to be the rear design. We wish they had changed just a little bit more with it. It's pretty much identical to the pre-refresh model, and especially not having any LED taillights on a version like this tester today, I really just wish they kind of expanded that availability out for this refresh.
Yeah, again, since the front lighting itself is so premium.
And lastly here, I do want to talk about your warranty, which is going to have the signature Kia warranty, 5-year, 60,000 miles for your basic, 10-year, 100,000 miles powertrain. Kia is still not doing complimentary maintenance, so do be aware that is a difference from its Hyundai counterpart. And now let's go ahead and talk pricing for this refreshed Sorento. Now, prices do rise a bit on all of the trim levels. It's between $2,000 and $4,000 depending on which trim you're looking at, which does mean we start around $31,990 for the base model, and then we go all the way up to the X Pro SX Prestige all-wheel drive for $47,390. Now, this particular tester does land kind of in the middle of the lineup, so we're $41,690 plus some options and the destination of $13,755. We're sitting at $43,840 as tested today. And if you're looking to buy a Kia Sorento or any new vehicle, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. Now, why you'd go to our website is because we have a tool on there that will connect you with local dealers in your area to get you the best price on your new vehicle. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealer negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of that, a link is provided in our video description. And guys, that's where we're going to leave off on one of the first in-depth reviews on the refreshed 2024 Kia Sorento. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, we would really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you help us to make more videos like this where we can come out and be one of the first people to sample a refreshed or all-new product, so please subscribe to support. If you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support because you do make this all possible. We'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.